Hello class, this is Miss Lee, your geometry teacher. I am going to go over review 2, which is how to solve one-step and two-step equations. Okay, so this worksheet can be found on Schoology. Just download it and watch the video, and hopefully that is going to get you a head start on your geometry worksheet R2, solving one and two-step equations. So the first set of problems is just to remind you how to add and subtract integers, okay, positive and negative numbers. Okay, so for instance, like number 1 here, just remember that when you have a negative next to a negative, that turns to a positive. So you are looking at -1 plus 5. It's just like you have $5, you spend $1, what's left? And the answer is 4. Okay, so that's what you have. Let me just quickly go and turn off my notification. Nope, my do not disturb. I need that. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Okay, number 3, you are adding. Okay, so this is adding two negative numbers. Okay, so if you spend $3 and you spent another $1, you're going to be spending a total of $4. Okay, so because you are spending money, your answer is going to be negative. Okay, so -4. Here, number 5 here. Another way of thinking about this problem is you are adding a -8 to a +3. Thinking of this in terms of money, it's just like you owe me $8 and now you paid me $3. So how much do you owe me now? You owe me $5. So because you owe me $5, it is going to be equal to -5. Okay, and let's see this one here, number 9. This is the same thing as, I'm going to rewrite this for you. It's like adding a +1 to a -6. Okay, so the problem is, every problem you can always write it as an addition problem. Okay, so you are adding a 1 to a -6. So again, if you think in terms of money, here you owe me $6 and you paid me $1. So how much do you owe me now? And the answer is hopefully going to be -5. You still owe me $5. All right. You could have 2 numbers, or you could have more than 2 numbers. Like number 3, there are 3 numbers here, so it's done the same way. Okay, just do one step at a time. Okay, so here you can go ahead and you have 8, so there's a negative and a negative, so this turns to a positive, and again the negative and negative, that turns to a positive. So all of a sudden you have 8 plus 3, which is 11, and 11 plus 7 is going to give you 18. Okay, number 13, let's take care of this first. Okay, order of operation. Remember, we work from left to right. With these numbers here, you don't have any other operations except plus or minuses, so you just need to work from left to right. Okay, so -5 plus 3. Again, you owe me $5, you pay me 3. How much do you owe me? That's going to be a 2. And then you have a plus and a -7. So here you are adding 2 negative numbers. You owe me $2. Then you borrowed $7 more. How much do you owe me total now? You are going to owe me a total of $9. All right, or if you just use a calculator, that is fine too. This is a geometry class, so I don't expect you to do everything by hand. As long as you set up the problem, as long as you know how to show the basic steps, you can use a calculator. I have no problems. But you are going to go to Algebra 2 next year, and so it's always good to know addition and subtraction and multiplication and division of integers. Okay, positive and negative numbers. Very, very important in math. All right, the next set is how to solve one-step and two-step equations. Okay, so one-step and two-step equations are equations where you have to either do one thing or 2 things to get to your answer. So when you solve an equation, that means basically get the variable by itself. So here in number 7, you will see that here you have a k divided by 6 equal to -4. Very, very basic problem. But when I teach Algebra 1, this is how I ask my students to look at the problem. I say, okay, always think about what's happening on each side of the equation. Okay, so here this is just a very basic problem, but I still like my students to put a vertical bar because that's going to organize their work. And the way I read this problem is, this is k divided by 6. Okay, so k divided by 6. When you solve problems, you use inverse operations. So you have k divided by 6. What's the opposite of dividing by 6? And that would be multiply by 6. Okay, so we always do the opposite. So here you're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 6. And you will see that this is going to cancel here. Okay, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So you have your k by itself. And then negative 4 times a 6 is going to be a negative 24. Okay, make sure that you check your answers in the back. All right, the answers are provided to you. So make sure you check your answers. These are easy. So, you would know most of the time that you got it right. But when we go to multi-step equations, make sure that you always check. Here, number 9. Okay, so again, don't forget that long vertical bar. That's going to be your best friend when you work with these type of problems. And what I like to do is I like to highlight the variable. Okay, that's where the variable is. On the left side, you have a negative 7 plus n equal to negative 22. Okay, so you want the n by itself. Next to the n is a minus 7. Okay, so what's the opposite of minus 7? Okay, so that's going to be a plus 7. So you're going to do that. Add 7. Add 7. Okay, so students always have trouble, not knowing what to do. Should we add 7 or should we add 22? Always look on the side of the variable and undo whatever number is there. Okay, so if you did this, then you would get the n by itself, which is the goal of this problem. And then you have negative 22 plus 7, which is going to be negative 15. And again, check your answer before you box. All right. Okay, number 21. 21, again, same thing here. Now your variable is on the right-hand side. So you have 20 times x. 20x is the same thing as 20 times x. So the opposite of 20 times x is dividing by 20. Dividing by 20. Okay, that's a division. All right. All right, so here you have your x, can cancel one of the zeros, and 40 divided by 2 is going to give you 20. Check the back of the book just to make sure that that's the correct answer, okay? Okay, let's see. Okay, let's work on number 25. That is like a two-step problem, okay? Or maybe even 3. Let's take a look. So you have a distribution here, so be very, very careful. This is not the only way to do the problem, but this is what we normally teach you, okay? So first of all, do your distribution, okay? So multiply through, pay attention to your positive and your negative signs, okay? So a negative 6 times 7 is a negative 42. A negative 6 times positive 1x is negative 6x. And then you have a negative 6x on the right-hand side. Again, circle your variable term. You want that by itself. That means you need to do the opposite of negative 42, which is adding 42. And I like to change colors just so that you can follow through more easily. Okay, so that's going to give you a negative 6 here, negative 6x. And this is going to give you a 36. And now we are going to do one more step. Okay, now we have negative 6 times x. So the opposite of negative 6 times x, again, is dividing by negative 6. Okay, so dividing by negative 6. Okay, dividing by negative 6. And watch out for your positive and negative numbers again. This is going to give you x equal to a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So 36 divided by 6 is a 6. That is your answer, hopefully. Again, please check the back of the book. All right. This problem here, be very careful to number 29. A lot of students have a tendency to make a mistake right here. Okay, your long vertical bar, I will put a parenthesis right here. Okay, so there are many ways to do this problem. A lot of teachers would just tell you, oh, just cross multiply. Okay, yes, you can just cross multiply because you have one single fraction on the left hand side, and on the right hand side you also have a single fraction, which is actually negative 3 over 1, but of course we don't write that. Okay, so they would just tell you, oh, go ahead and cross multiply. Okay, that's why you can't, because you have two fractions, one on each side of the equation. So when you multiply there, what you'll end up having is a negative 3 plus n equal to a negative 6. And then again, you follow the same steps that we did before. Circle or highlight your variable term, and on the side of the variable term, you have a negative 3. Do the opposite of that. That's a plus 3. That's a plus 3. So you have n equal to, and that's going to give you a negative 3. Again, before you box your answer, check the back of the book. Okay, I want to do number 30. number 29 and number 30, those are two different types of problems. And that's the one where I don't like to say, okay, just cross multiply, because a lot of students see a fraction and it doesn't matter how many terms they have on one side, they start, cross multiplying. But that's not what you need to do, okay? So number 30, be very careful here, because here you've got two things, okay, two different terms, okay? By terms, I mean the following, okay? This is one term, okay, and this is the second term, versus number 23, this is considered one single term right there, okay? So when you have two terms, the first thing you want to do first is to get the variable term by itself, whether it's a fraction or a nice number like 2x, okay? So in order to get the x over 10 by itself, we need to go ahead and undo the minus 10, which means do the opposite of minus 10 to both sides of your equation, and that is going to be adding 10 to both sides, okay? So now you get your x over 10. Now notice you have a single fraction on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side you have a negative 2, and now we are ready to cross multiply. Or just like we did number 1, this is x divided by 10, so you multiply by 10, which is essentially the same thing as cross multiplying these two numbers, okay? So you will get x equal to negative 20, and again, before you box your answer, go and check the back of the book. All right, so this is all I have for you today for this video. Hopefully this is going to remind you how to solve these type of problems. I know it's been a long summer, and so hopefully, by looking at this, it is going to refresh your memory and you are going to remember how to solve these problems. All right, that's it for this worksheet, and I will see you on the next worksheet. Thank you.